I'm going to present a quick demo on Jupyter Notebook. Now, what exactly is Jupyter Notebook? So, Jupyter is an acronym for Julia, Python, and R, which were the first programming languages supported by Jupyter application. And what Jupyter Notebook essentially does is it's a document with code and text elements such as charts, media, figures, equations. So what this helps us is that we get data analysis and description in one single document and in real time. Going ahead, the first step to use Jupyter Notebook would be to install it. And Anaconda is the most used Python distribution tool for installation of Jupyter. It comes with installation of Python as well. So we got to go to anaconda.org to install Jupyter. Now, I have it already installed, but one can download the various versions by going down here. And based on your operating system, you can choose which Anaconda version you have to download. Moving ahead, in order to use Jupyter Lab, we need to go to Anaconda Navigator. On coming here, we will get multiple options to open notebooks. Here we get Jupyter Lab as well as Jupyter Notebooks to go with. We'll go ahead with Jupyter Lab because it provides us with an interface that we could use. Now, the positive advantages of Jupyter Labs is that it's offline. We have local access. We can use Anaconda Cloud for sharing, and the installation comes with many useful libraries. So, going ahead with Jupyter Lab, this is how our Jupyter Lab looks like. So, the most two basic components of Jupyter Lab is the kernel and the dashboard. A kernel is the computational engine that helps us run the code based on the language. In our case, we will choose the IPython kernel that's going to help us. So if you can see here where I've clicked, we get Python 3 as our kernel. And this is our basic dashboard structure, which is used to show input, output, and show the different files. Your entire desktop structure, whichever document you want to open, you can use your dashboard to do that. Going ahead now, what the basics of a notebook is that it has an IBYNB extension. So this extension is used to store all the details of the notebook in a JSON format. If we go ahead and so I already have a notebook downloaded, which has an IBYNB extension. On opening it, we see that we have a JSON format that stores the details of the notebook. After the basic details, the basic structure, like explained before, was that we have text, we have headers, we have code, all of them in a single document to understand the code, to use charts, so the notebook has multiple advantages here. Now let's go to the interface. The basic interface has multiple options. We have files for actions related to files. We have edit for action related to editing documents. View is used to show the appearance of Jupyter Lab. Run is used to show the different running options, and all of them can be seen here. We have files here that have different edit, view. The run is used to show the different options while running if you want to run a selected cell and insert a new one below. Kernel is the different options with respect to the kernel we are using. We can restart a kernel, we can shut down the kernel. We have multiple tabs here. You can activate the next tab, you can go to the previous tab. We have settings from Jupyter, and we have help for further options required. Well, this is the top side options that we have. If we see to the left side, we have multiple options here. Also, here is the basic folder structure that we are seeing. But one down, we can see the different kernel sessions. Then we have the search here. We have multiple tabs opening here. So if you have multiple tabs, you can toggle through the tabs via here. The notebook that we open can be opened via Jupyter Lab as well as Jupyter Notebook. Now, how do we create a new notebook? I already have a notebook created, but in case I have to create another notebook, I have to go here. I get options. I choose Python 3 as part of the notebook. It's untitled. I like welcome to Jupyter demo. And we get a basic this. We can do multiple options with respect to the notebook, like renaming the notebook to welcome. So similar to a notebook, we can have a complete folder as well. We can import files by using the upload option. That's gonna give us multiple options to import files. Now, coming to cells now. So like previously stated, we have two options with cell. We have a markdown and we have a cell. So if we go here, this is the basic markdown structure where we have a header and then we have a text associated with it. But if we want to use the code as well, we have a code structure here. And this can be decided from here. So here we have markdown and here we have code as well. So one can use the text and code in the same document. This is a cheat sheet for markdown headers. It's been given in this document. Feel free to use it in your free time. Now, coming to Python libraries. So rather than importing the direct libraries, we could import, we could use short names to import libraries, and we can use those short names to further use. So as you can see with the example, rather than using pandas.dataframe, we directly use pd.dataframe, which is also reflected here. On importing a Python library, you just have to use the short name for the library, and then once you print out the head, you'll get all the details with respect to the head. Now, how do we know if a library is already installed in Anaconda? So for that, we go to Anaconda Navigator, we go to environment, and here we have packages. So if we check for a package here, we can see that pandas is already installed, so we wouldn't need to install it. Coming to data sets now, we can view data sets in our Jupyter notebooks. For that, we can either double click on the notebooks, on the data set, sorry, and we'll get the data set printed, or we could read it via code format. So here we have the data set, but if we read it via code, we get it in this format. We have to import and then we read the data set. Now, an important thing to be done here would be to convert your notebook into a PDF format. So in order to do this, we have to install multiple libraries. We have to install nbconvert, pandatalk, text, Pipiter, and then we have to add the library to the path using this command. On doing this, we have to open a terminal. We have to go to the place where our Jupyter notebook is there. And then by following this command, we will be converting it into a PDF. To demonstrate this, I am already in my Jupyter notebook right now, and I have the command already printed. And doing this, we are converting our current notebook into a PDF that would be used in the following course, rest of the class to submit your homeworks. And if I refresh this, I can see that a PDF file was created minutes ago. I think I'm getting questions. I'm gonna see the chat box. So Markdown is for general comments, while code can be run using the run commands. Yes, that's right. And not just general comments, you can have headers also. You can have a proper structure. Okay, it does not always work under Windows 10. That can be a problem, which is why Vinayak will now show the same in Google Colab. So if you have problems using PDF conversion via Jupyter Lab, we can always use Google Colab.